Hey, we're gonna let that go for one day here, but welcome to the Flying Dutchman shop. Okay, so this is like the heavy fab area with the jig table, and our main welders are here on this side. So this is like really heavy fab section, and everything's pretty easily accessible. Any like manual piece of equipment, grinders and drill press, bandsaw, and the lathe, and everything is centered right here, so you can just keep working. You know, use the jig table if we're building something, or as a workbench, and then you know, bust the welder out and kind of make short trips this way, and then we try to do more prep stuff on the other end. We try to keep everything really close here, so there's a lot of fabrication stuff, bungs and pre-made like machine parts that we use a lot of. Laser parts are all over here. One of the famous light buggies that Shane and Brent like to talk about a lot right here. So we just are doing some chassis inspection, I guess, on that, and doing some drawings and stuff. Possibly there might be a couple more of these one day, but okay, so we've got the jig table here with a buggy on it, checking over some chassis stuff. New Pro 2 build here. We've got the Rosales Pro 2 that we're stripping down and gonna do a ton of maintenance and work on that. 1600 buggy, this is getting a new driver mounted in it, so new seat and some repair stuff and whatever it needs. We're getting this stuff out of the way pretty quickly here, and another 1600 buggy that's just getting some repair stuff done. This is my personal car, dune buggy that I've had forever, and we've just never got running. So every off season, the guys say they're gonna help me finish it, and then I kind of make excuses because I would just rather be working on race cars. So it's always pretty short-lived, but this is probably the coolest thing in here to me. But okay, over here we've got bolt bins, and this is all full of hardware and fittings and anything that we need that's not like a special order thing is here. So day-to-day stuff, and every shop needs something like this where you just keep slapping stickers on it and builds up through the years, and we've got a couple different versions of that all over, and a lot of customers and competitors stuff on the wall. This is kind of the messy room most of the time, but like shocks and gears and stuff happen in here, and more hardware and more specialized stuff in there, and we have a waste oil burner, so there's a oil tank in there that kind of makes things convenient for people to dump oil and stuff. And here's another little fab table with our smaller welders. This is a little more convenient for remote welding stuff, so we've got that to do. It's a little easier to maneuver around and stuff, and toolboxes with a little kind of prep area here to get your tools together and stuff, and we've got a bunch of specialty tools in here, and then anything else that we really need is mostly in here and stuff. So sometimes people will come in and we've got this really old school country, like super slow, twangy country music going on and stuff, and all the young guys come in and they ask me why we listen to that, and I'm like, well, that's what the old moonshiners used to play and listen to when they started racing and stuff like that back in the day. So like that keeps like the spirit of a race car, you know, that's like built into the car, and that's what builds winning race cars. And they ask me, like, why does that make a better race car? And it's because no one has ever built a winning race car listening to I'm pretty sure my favorite tool in the shop or piece of equipment is the bandsaw, so much that I have two. because every time a new person comes in here that we're like getting them to learn how to do fab and stuff, I always tell them the bandsaw does not discriminate. So anything I put through there gets cut. So I use the bandsaw for lots of stuff that aren't really conventional sometimes. The bandsaw and the broom. I like the broom. Big organized guy here. My least favorite tool in the shop is a tin snips. I fucking hate tin snips. And I almost never ever, I barely ever use them on aluminum, ever. I use them for stuff that they're not intended for more than I do for aluminum. I hate tin snips with a passion. All right, so here's the office. There's actually a lot of pictures and awards and stuff that are gone because we're having them displayed at the Hall of Fame. So, but you get the kind of idea of, we just kind of try to have a little bit of history in here and stuff of the different eras that we've covered, and this is all of our own personal family stuff, and there's many, many more with all of the friends and family we've had through the years in here, but I don't know, sometimes work gets done in the office too, I guess, but I like to do most of my damage out in the shop. Okay, if we're doing a fridge shot, gotta say hi to Morris. Me, Rayford, and Morris here on the old Kenda poster, but I don't know what we've got in there right now, but, you know, honestly, like most of the drinks in here are at least a year old. We might get together once a year and have a party, but sometimes there's some moldy food in there and stuff. But I think it's the official beer of off-road racing. You always got to have a spare case laying around or two, so you never know when we're gonna have to talk about buggies. Some more Wall of Fame stuff as we go. That's like the RJ door there is off of a old 1930s Chevy that we didn't want to hang in the shed because it'd probably get rusty and stuff. So that deserves to be in here. He was always really close with Dad and stuff. So all of this is just number plates that we've just saved of people that have we've worked on their stuff and built cars for and have been close with. And then the Walker Evans ones were left over from the truck that Dad bought from him, the old Dodge. So we kind of hung on to them, and then Walker signed it again in the 50th, I think, at Crandon was that. So besides him and the Mark Kleiman one, I think every other car here we've had in here and done work on and stuff, so that's pretty cool. And then you got the buggy Wall of Fame here, where all these cars that we've either built or helped, or people that are close to us. This is the championship side of the number plates that I've posted before, but it starts with Dad's old Class 13, Dad's Pro 2, my 2 in the trucks, and then Kleiman's Pro 2, Rayford's Pro Spec, Parsons Pro Spec, Carter's short course cart. That was the first year of the short course cart. And then a couple of these are doubles and stuff, but that's my light buggy one. And then Stingles won 8 light buggies, and then that's Colin Schultz. I think he has 3 light buggy championships, and then Connor had 1 light buggy. So bunch of number plates up there, but they kind of represent a lot more championships. Here's the shed. This is kind of the Wall of Fame, I guess, hoods and doors and stuff that we've collected through the years, and almost every single one of these is something that we've either built or a truck that we've worked on, and a couple of legendary people that we kind of got our hands on their stuff and decided we had to keep. So we've got the Rayford Pro Spec Championship hood and the C-Pod hood are hanging together. That was the same year, so those are really cool. The Mickey Thomas Championship hood's there. Dad's championship hood is here. My championship hood is there. Parsons, a lot of championship trucks here. We've got a Jeremy McGrath hood, Ricky Johnson hood, Jeff Kincaid from Pro Light and Pro 2. On the wall, there's Carter's Championship back in the short course kart days. There's some stuff in the way, but my brother drove Evan Evans Pro 2 backup driver one time back in the World Series days. Dad's throwback body from the Crandon 40th anniversary race. We went back to his 90s paint job for one race. That was cool. Kyle Kleiman's Pro Light Championship hood, the Pro 2 Championship roof. I think that's the only roof we actually have here. But then the KGB limited edition Johnny Greaves half black hood from a repair job they did. And then my brother's Pro Light from back in the day. Johnny Greaves, probably one of his coolest paint jobs ever here on the Pro 4 door. And yeah, lots of friends and customers and family and stuff. And then we've got the Kenda team. And then the team 1600 buggy is here that Connor raced, and Connor won a world championship. And then not really sure what we're gonna do with this thing. We're either gonna just keep letting people race it, or I'd really like to have this thing out at Bark River for their 50th race and maybe do something special with it. Otherwise, we'll just sell it. But yeah, there's more stuff coming, and there's a lot of really old stuff throughout the years that we had and lost track of that would have made this even cooler. But because of that is why we just started hanging them up, because there's just so many memories, and you never know which one is, going to become something that's recognizable years later. So. The Stingle side panel on definitely a championship light buggy side panel. And then this is Torque gave me this after my first Pro 2 win, so we hung onto that thing. And this is from Oshkosh, back when Dad was the promoter for those races back at Oshkosh last couple times we were there. And then the old Crandon ticket prices that you probably shouldn't show anymore. And then we always hang up the stars and stripes in all the buildings.
All right, you wasted enough of their time. Let's get the hell out of here.